This is Virginia Eyes, and we are going to be talking about the end of identity. We are having a bit of a problem with connection, but we are going to work this out. Well, I have here the layout. This talk is inspired by the idea of identity as by the idea of identity as it translates into social media and as it translates into gender. Because right now I feel like we are all living into two separate planes. We are all living in our physical life and in our virtual life. We have our physical life, which is the one that we live in our daily life, the one we live with our physical bodies, and then we have our virtual life, which is the one we live with our phones, with our computers, that we are living in our avatar selves, which is not so much physical as much as it is something that we create and that we can modify as much as we want. And that this was kind of inspired by virtual identities such as Lil Michaela and War Nymph, which is an avatar that Grimes created, and also two friends of mine that are performers called Jessie Per Se, who are a pair of Spanish artists who are also DJs and who are currently performing using their digital avatars and also their physical selves. But then, for example, I feel like social media right now is an experiment, and it's also a breeding ground for queer identities. Because for a long time, it has been a great place for trans identity to thrive in, because as a trans person, you get to represent yourself however you want to be. You get to choose your name, you get to choose how you want to be represented, how you want people to see you. You get to choose how people perceive you in a way, because you choose your lighting, you choose how people get to see you. You choose the pictures, you choose your angles. In a way, you shape the view that people get of you, because of course you look very different depending on what you upload and the way you present yourself. And it's and I wrote something that I thought about. It's funny to talk about reality and social media and gender, because nowadays you get these layers of reality. Am I real if I get fillers, or am I real if I am wearing a filter, or if I dye my hair, or if I wear contact lenses, or if I take hormones? Nowadays, there are thousands of ways to customize our appearance, in a way that makes it close to impossible to distinguish the real and the altered, raising the questions of whether or not reality is relevant anymore. And the fact that some of these are temporary and free fixes is even more interesting. Botox may be expensive, but the Snow app may give you the same effect for free, only online. The virtual world... sorry, I lost myself. The virtual world is where the working classes are getting to live the gender revolution to its fullest potential, customizing their digital selves to their fullest potential. What that means is that... Hi! Oh my god. Basically online you get to be whoever you want to be. You literally can modify yourself to be whoever you want to be. You can say, I want to have a giant ass, say, or I want to have giant eyes, or I want to have blue eyes or no eyes at all, and you get to do whatever you want. And as an artist and also as a human being, you get to find people who also experience gender and life in a similar way to you, and that's extremely important, because as a genderqueer person, I never felt understood until I found people who experienced gender and gender fluidity the same way as I did via Instagram. Because, for example, to me it was finding people like Miss Fame and the DuPont twins and others that identified with femininity and androgyny the same way that I did, and that used femininity in an artistic way and with reverence and with love for it, but without completely identifying with it. That I understood my feelings for it and my feelings of love for androgyny and for femininity, and I completely embraced who I felt. And I feel like it's so important to see what you are represented, and to see it, I feel like the cool thing about Instagram is that it's also sci-fi, because the same way that you get movies with special effects, you get gender with special effects. It's like Kim Kardashian is doing femininity with special effects, because there's no way that us in that waste exists. The same way that Amanda Lepore does special effects with silicone, and the same way that, I mean, it's gender special effects, and I feel like we are basically to share what you feel and share your story. Yeah, it's so important to see social media as a community and as a way to share, and not to compete, but to commute as a society. And the thing is that the virtual should be seen as a highlight reel. It's performative, but I also feel like to see it as more performative than the physical self, it's naive. And that's where 6 Characters in Search of an Author, who is an author, it was written in 19... Okay, 6 Characters in Search of an Author is a 1922 play by Luigi Pirandello. It was written in Rome, and it's an exercise about theater, and one of the main themes is the subject of reality. Jesus, the connection. Okay. Here's the thesis. While the character's reality is real, the actor's is not. While the character's is somebody, man is nobody. Man is nobody because he is subject to time. His reality is fleeting, always ready to reveal itself as illusion, whereas the character's reality remains fixed for eternity. Put otherwise, time enables an opposition between reality and illusion for man. Over time, man comes to identify realities as illusion, whereas the character exists in the timeless reality of art. In life, we all wear masks. We can use them to advance in society if we play our roles to our advantage. We should wear masks proudly. In the end, identity is nothing but a mask. And I feel like in order to exist in such a self-aware, all-consuming world, we need to in some way kill our ego and separate from our public persona. We need to play the game, wear the mask, because otherwise we become consumed by the evaluative gaze of others. And what I mean to say by this is that I feel like it's inescapable to live in a society that judges us, and we live in a society that has norms, that has gender norms, and not only gender norms, it has sex norms, it has rules about everything about who you, it has class norms, it has racial norms. You can't escape your place in society to a degree, but you can, to an extent, play to the expectations placed on you. And I feel like in that self-awareness, you can play the system. And I feel like that's what the play tries to say. In the play, all the characters use the self-awareness that they have about themselves in trying to play the system. And here's where gender trouble enters. Because I wanted to talk about Judith Butler's gender trouble centerpiece statement that gender is a construct and therefore a performance. Because so much of the... Well, people are clapping because we are in a pandemic. Sorry. But gender trouble's thesis basically says that gender is a construct, whereas there's so much of trans activism that fixes on trying to justify trans identity. Jesus Christ, the connection. But yeah, so much of gender trouble. I'm sorry. I'm getting I'm really dazed by the connection. Daisy. Okay, let's try again. Gender trouble. The thesis of gender trouble is that gender is a construct, it's a performance, but you keep saying in the critical discourse, in the media, in everything, that trans people have to be respected because it's a medical thing, because it's in their brain, because you have to respect their identity. And I feel like queer theory, it's breaking that. It's basically saying it's a choice, it's something that you get to do, it's something that you should be respected, because it's something that it's this that you should respect people's life decisions. You should respect choices, because it extends much farther than. Oh Jesus, I can't. I literally cannot with this connection. Let me try to fix this. I'm gonna go down, I guess. I'll be back. Okay. Ricard, ¿puedes parar los Simpsons? Que necesito dar la charla aquí. ¿Puedes parar la tele, porfa? Okay. Change of setting. I look really yellow now. But it's going on. Sorry, it's the connection. Okay. But we are doing this. So, but we are doing this. I'm selling this house today. Okay, so, lol. Okay, so I feel like queer activism is much more radical, because basically it's not about respectability politics. It's about being truly radical and defending true freedom and decision, and people try to decide who they really want to be, and not just respectability politics. Because I don't just want to be a respectable trans person. I want to be whoever I want to be, and that's maybe not your conservative trans person. I don't want to be Blair White. I don't want to be a Republican. I want to be I want to be free. I want to be someone who maybe enjoys going to liberal sex parties. I want to be someone whose life goes farther than just being my mom with a penis. Okay, so the idea of binary against fixed identity, I wanted to talk about the idea of mutable identity, because I think it's really interesting, because nowadays, more than ever, I feel like we are saying all the time, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And we identify with so many things, because we are a lot of things. As people, we are a lot of people. We are not just us. We are our friends, we are our lovers, we are our mom, we are our dad, we are the people that we admire. And I feel like that's incredibly important, and people oftentimes downplay that. And I love a quote that someone said to me, that I love myself when I love you, and I think that that's incredible. And that's because I feel like sometimes when you're with someone, you become someone else, and you love that person, and the person that you are with that person. And that doesn't mean that you're not being honest. That just means that you're different. And we have to embrace that change. We have to embrace that we are mutable beings, that we are not just one thing. And I think that's magical, that we are affected, and then that we are not an island. I feel that we should embrace that. And that if we are going to embrace queer, fluid identity, that means that it's not just about gender. And at the same time, it is about gender, because, for example, there's people that make you feel masculine or feminine, and that make sides of you come out, that make you wanna behave a certain way, if you understand what I mean. That suddenly you meet someone and they make your aggressive side come out or your softer side come out, and that's just another side of sex and gender and fluid identities. And ¿por qué hablas en inglés? Because this is an international platform. Non-binary, genderqueer. Oh, and we should be expansive. What I want to say about with this is that sometimes we become fixated as a queer community with trying to find labels such as genderqueer, gender non-conforming, gender fluid, and non-binary. And I feel like those are important, but at the same time, it's all the same. It's like they're all important, but at the same time, let's not forget that they're all trying to talk about the same thing. And lamentablemente muchas nos quedamos excluidas. I'm sorry, but at the same time, if we don't speak, lo siento, pero si no hablamos inglés también hay mucha gente que queda excluida. Lo siento. And well, we should be expansive. Gender fluid, gender queer, non-binary. Let's not forget what's important. Let's focus on the things that matter and not dictionaries. Habrá contenido en castellano y en inglés. The mass capitalization of queer identity. Oh, yeah, and also I wanted to touch on a few things to end this. And one is that I think that it's really important to talk about the fact that there's no look to non-binary and queer identities, that there's no sexuality and no identity to queer identity. There's no attraction to queer identity. There's no look to queer identity. For example, a lot of people think queer and they automatically go to like crop top, pink hair, a thong, and no, a queer person is a person who is thinking outside of society's values, who is questioning the things that we've been taught, who is living outside of stereotypical heteropatriarchal norms, and who is thinking radically, and who is acting radically. And I feel like that is worth examining, because if you are someone who happens to be, for example, homosexual, but then you are becoming someone who's not challenging any societal norms, then you aren't queer, and you shouldn't be calling yourself queer. And I feel like that has to be addressed. It's not a look, and it shouldn't be. And I don't think it has, and I feel like it's just becoming diluted. I hate the way that the word is just becoming diluted, and at the same time, it's just funny to me because it's silly, because to you it might be just like a crop top and pink hair, and to me it might be Marlene Dietrich in a suit, and it might look classical to you, but to me it's fucking punk, because it was a woman. She was wearing trousers, and it's about context. The thing that's lacking it's about context. Because Marlena, yeah, she was wearing a suit, and today it might not seem shocking, but in the context of Marlena, it was fucking shocking. And that's why it's important, and that's why it's queer, because it's not about how it looks, it's about what it does. And also, I feel like this is a conversation that we've been able to have because we are very liberal environment, because we are people that are very open-minded, that we are open to discussion, that we are people who want to go on, that want to go out into the world and keep reading, keep searching, keep moving forward. But I feel like this is a mind exercise. This is not something that we can just go out and say to everyday people, because there are parts of this discourse that people aren't ready to hear, because intersectionality is not in this discourse right now. The thing is that right now not everybody can get to be everyone they want to be. the thing is that right now, if you are poor, if you are black, if you are POC, if you are poor, there are so many things that keep us from being who we want to be. If you are trans, there are so many things that keep us from being who we want to be. And we have to keep that in mind. We have to keep fighting for people who don't have it as easy as we have it. And we have to keep fighting for them. We have to keep fighting for people who are still struggling, for people who are fighting for their lives, who are not in a house like I am with my mom, who is making me dinner, who is taking care of me, who loves me, who takes care of me, and people who are literally right now out of their job, fighting for their lives. And right now MARICAS has a PayPal account where you can donate for those who are more vulnerable in the collective, and you can donate money to them, because it's really important, because it's not just about being cute and having fun and making out at parties, although that's really important too. But it's about being a community and helping each other, and I feel like that's extremely important. And I know that you all have it in your hearts, and that's why I'm proud of being part of this community. So thank you for being here for me, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for being here always. I'm extremely proud of being part of the MARICAS team, and please go check out their website. It's amazing. And thank you to the team for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, girls.